Live, doing a video. See if I can set this up a little better so it's not. There, I think that works. I've got Celtic music on in the background. I haven't been on much because I have been working a lot. And yeah, that's basically the reason. It's, and so by the time I think about making a video or doing a live, I'm just sort of wiped out. But I've also been writing. I'm primarily a writer, so that's usually where, and that's good. I mean, that's what I know I should be doing. But yeah, but here I am. And today is a pretty big day. There's a lot going on. I wanted to say hello to all the new subscribers. Um, to show that I did a while back, and I guess it re-aired, and that sort of always helps. It always helps bring in new subscribers, and I'm very grateful. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad to see you, and hello to all my subscribers. And yeah, I'm sorry I haven't produced a lot of content lately because there is a lot going on. There's so much going on. Now we know I don't even know if I can say his name without, how about we just say Einstein? How about that? I could even say Einstein, and you guys don't know who I'm talking about. The Einstein files, right? Those are supposedly all coming out today. Now I know, well, I got out of work, okay? I worked the matinee at the theater. And by the way, it was crazy at the theater. We have an older clientele that comes in, and normally things run pretty smooth. Well, today 3 people fell. I mean, that's pretty bad and pretty scary when it happens. And maybe it's mercury, maybe it's the energy, I don't know. But I just kind of felt like, there's definitely some weird stuff going on today, like chaotic energy. And I come home and I get this deep, deep sadness inside of me. And that can happen to me when I'm around crowds, but also it happens to me when there's big stuff going on in the world. And I really feel like these files released, the chaos of it, the sadness of the victims, the sadness of maybe MAGA, that they were hoodwinked this whole time. Although we all know that MAGA's never going to change their mind on 45. I mean, the ones that have changed have already changed their mind. The rest of them are never. There's no truth, nothing, no video, no email, no file, nothing that'll ever turn them 45. But there's more than I thought since last year, since the election last year. More have changed and gone against him. Case being the No King's Day. I went to that, and I remember as I walked upon the scene, I turned the corner. It was at a local college. I turned the corner and I saw all these crowds of people on these hillsides. And I just thought, this is like Woodstock. This is what Woodstock felt like in a small, moderate way. But it's more people have turned against 45 than you can even imagine. And I saw that. So after that march, which really changed a lot and showed us that people have gone against him. Like we kind of get told that he has all this support. He doesn't. He doesn't have a whole bunch of support. And but what was I going to say? The people, the honking. Well, anyway, the people who are still with him are probably never going to change. The people who have changed have already changed. But I do think that the Einstein files could have a huge effect. I mean, obviously, this was what a lot of people voted for. They thought that the Democrats were hiding the files and hiding Bill Clinton and people like that, Prince Andrew. Now, Clinton, if Clinton's on there, then he needs to be held accountable. Prince Andrew, he's facing consequences now, finally. And I mean, we could all surmise that the reason why King Charles finally decided to, excommunicate Prince Andrew was because he had incriminating evidence, and he saw the files before we're getting to see the files, basically. Okay, so anyway, so you guys know the whole story. They have the shutdown, which isn't really quite over yet. It ain't over till it's over. That was orchestrated to delay the files being released because they're that bad. Also, it was a way, as I said, for 45 to do all the dirty business and try to do as much of Project 2025 as he could without people in government telling him no. This is something that he and Leland wanted to do back at first shutdown, which was right, I think it was December last year, and they weren't allowed. The shutdown didn't happen, and they weren't allowed to take over the government. That was their plan, was they were going to infiltrate the government and then take all the money, which I told everyone they were going to take all the money. But now they use this. They use the shutdown on purpose. They had many reasons for the shutdown. Now, I got out of work on Sunday night and everybody was saying that the Democrats had caved and they were going to vote and to end the shutdown. And I thought, you know, as much as I hate it, it's almost like the chess move that they have to make because, and I wrote that on my social media, the reason why the Democrats decided to end the shutdown was because they knew that no matter what, no matter what, the ACA was going to get screwed up, no matter what. And, 45 his almost 99% of 45, the reason why he became president was to destroy Obamacare, to destroy that legacy that Obama left. And the reason why Obama created Obamacare was because his mother died of cancer, and he promised her that he would make affordable health care available for people. Hello. Hi. Hi, Just a Dude. Hello. And hello, Fatima. I'm doing good. Good to see you here. For being here. Look at the beautiful fall leaves out the window. But, 45 bringing in Dr. Oz and RFK Jr., who has no business being in healthcare. That's my daughter came. I may have to pause the live for a second. Let me see. You want out there? Go ahead. Go ahead. Is it Julia? I don't think so. I do need it. Well, I'm still here. Hold on. It's a problem with going live. Anything can happen. Anything can and does happen. Is it okay? Okay, good. Thank you. Karen, come back here. Okay, my son looked out the window. Nothing. My daughter gets home from school right around now. And I have to go back to work later. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Okay, so 45 wanted to destroy Obamacare, Obamacare, and call it Trump Care. He brought in RFK Jr. He brought in Dr. Oz. Why? They're just going to stop there. Nobody's going to have the Affordable Care Act anymore. Nothing. They were going to do it no matter what. They're going to take all the money and people are going to have to pay out of pocket. However, the promise would be like the Music Man coming into town and promising to sell instruments and everybody could learn how to play an instrument was. He leaves the town later and they don't have anything. That's what 45 is doing. He's going to create Trump Care and it doesn't really work. Nobody gets their premiums paid, their insurance, et cetera, et cetera. He makes all the money. He takes all the money. Then there's going to be Trump RX, where he has all the medicines and vaccines. He gets all the money. You get nothing. That's basically how it was going to work. That's what they're doing. And literally yesterday I saw the news conference and they talked about it and they said they're going to have Trump Care. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The Democrats, I think they finally saw that this was a risk worth taking, that they would stop the shenanigans and just agree to extend the ACA for another year, which they kind of knew was faulty because they know that the other side does not honor commitments, that the Republicans are pretty much going to squander that into nothing. But the risk was, here's the risk was that they say we'll end the shutdown and give in to 45's demands, and then we can get the Epstein files released by swearing in the new congresswoman and all of that. And that was the risk that's worth taking because really there's nothing else at this point that they could have that can, I mean, 45 has taken over the entire, that's pretty much, I mean, not completely, but pretty much. So they had to use like the nuclear option, if you will. And that was to give in, end the shutdown. People get food, people get their back pay, goes back into action, and they get the congresswoman sworn in. They release the Epstein files. Boom. And you know, I have to say, I feel like it was a worthy chess move. Um, because again, I really don't think the Republicans were ever going to honor any demands that the Democrats had. So it was a risk worth taking, in my opinion. Now, even before this congresswoman is sworn in, and I don't think she had, I don't think they've done it yet. Um, there was a trove of emails, really incriminating emails, as you've seen, about Epstein literally saying, Einstein literally saying, 45 was with young girls at pedophile parties, which, hello, we just saw a pedophile party at Mar-a-Lago, okay, for entertainment purpose only. There were young women in thongs at that lavish Great Gatsby, which, if you don't know how Great Gatsby ends, is that Gatsby has complete ruin. But the Great Gatsby party at Mar-a-Lago was a lavish way to spend extra money that would not be accounted for. It was squandering money in front of hungry children across America and etc. So anyway, that was an Epstein party. You don't need the files, but these emails have incriminated 45, and that was even before there was now 45 is holding meetings with Caroline Levitt and all these people. Who did he try to? Oh yeah, Lauren Boebert, who you never hear about her anymore, and trying to convince them to not release the files and take their name off the list to release the files. Which people voted for these files to be released. That was what a lot of MAGA voted for. Like their one sole vote was for the Epstein files to be released. Is happening. But how incriminating to actually call people into a private meeting and tell them not to release a file that could have your name on it. Now, it really is all down to, will people accept this as truth? Now we know, again, some people are never going to accept it as truth. They just don't believe it. They just can't believe it. I don't have evidence. I mean, I heard Katie Johnson's, not her real name, testimony last year before the election, and I went all over social media. It was like, guys, you got to listen to this, because this is like what 45 did to this girl and others is really bad. It's horrible. It's everything we suspected. Now, when people say he wasn't, Epstein's the only one who did anything bad, listen to Katie Johnson's testimony and then come back to me. Really incriminating. It's not anything that any, and here's the thing, where is she? She has disappeared. She had to remove her testimony before the election in 2016, and then nobody's heard from her. Is she still alive? Is she in witness protection program? That's how bad it is for those who don't believe that she's telling the truth. If she wanted to have money and fame, she would still be out there. She's gone, man. She's gone. So it was that bad. What he did and what he is that. Now, here's the thing. So these emails released today, Epstein says in there, it's 2 weeks before he dies. And he says that 45 was parties. Tells Michael Wolff, tells a lawyer, 2 weeks later, he's dead. And you know what? That's something for entertainment purposes only that I suspected a while back. I started to think, this 2024 election was clearly hacked, because 45 was never going to allow himself to have to go to jail, because if he didn't go to jail, if he didn't get it last year, he knew he was going to go to jail for various reasons, and the Epstein files would be released, yada yada yada. He was never going to let that happen. So this really is his worst nightmare today. I'm sure they've been heavily redacted, but let's see if I can stay on track here. It's everything he's done to prevent this from happening. I feel like Epstein, when people say Epstein was the bad guy, I felt like the real bad guy was 45 because Epstein went to jail. He went to jail. And guess who's still alive? And can you imagine being a victim of 45 and no and saying killed for entertainment purposes only that he unalived Epstein to silence him because 45 clearly got word that Epstein was ratting him out to get a plea deal. I'm just sure that's what it was. And then they say Epstein's unalived. But can you imagine being a victim and your rapist for entertainment purposes only? Your rapist is president, and his best friend, another abuser, is now unalived. Hell no, you're not going to come out and talk. I mean, who in their right mind would do it? You'd be terrified. You'd be absolutely terrified. So I think the head honcho has always been 45. I really do. And he got into the White House. He buried his first wife on the golf course so no one could exhume her body. I think she's been cremated, but I mean, 45 is worse than in my opinion. He's the head honcho, and now he's just like killing people in the seas, and fishing. Anyway, let's move on to finances. Okay, so I had this horrible feeling. I think that a lot's going to come out today. I think there's going to be a lot of chaos. I think that what I'm feeling is a collectiveness in society that this man they felt like was a hero was actually the bad guy. It's like watching a movie where a woman dates a guy and he's like, "Oh, I love you and I'll do anything for you." And, "Oh, you shouldn't talk to so and so because they're bad." And then you find out the whole time the one that was closest to you was actually the bad guy, the one that was stalking you and trying to kill you. That's what 40 like. And everybody, I think, is going to finally figure it out tonight, that the guy they thought was their hero was actually the bad guy. And now what do you do? Do you think he would resign? I think it's possible he could. I mean, every day I say it can't get worse. It can't possibly get worse. And then it does. So I've learned not to say that anymore. I don't say that. Well, let's move on to finances. Okay. The SNAP thing. Now, you guys know, as I said, before the election and before Inauguration Day, I came on here and with a massive plea, please don't elect this guy. Please don't inaugurate this guy. He's going to take all the money. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew. And I was like begging people, please do not let him in office. He's going to take all the money. And then he got in office, and the first thing he does is he has Leland get into Doge. Our Doge gets into our Social Security and everything. And all the money's gone. I mean, I really feel that. I feel like the money's gone. He said the other day on an interview, "Oh, I can always find a way to get money." Well, if that's true, then he should fund SNAP. I feel like the states who have not yet provided money for SNAP will. I just heard the contingency fund will come through. Ketanji Jackson Brown will make sure that the money is provided, and I don't know how, but it's going to happen. I do feel like he raided Fort Knox. I do feel like he raided remember when he said he wanted to fire, he pressured the woman that was the head of the Treasury Department, and he's like, "She's fired." I was like, not a good idea, because he just wants her gone so he could take all the rest of the money. And I feel that's what he did. He took all the rest of the money. I honestly don't know what we're going to do, but we'll find a way. Now, here's what I thought, though. Here's what I think. We have all come together, right? As soon as we found out that he wasn't going to provide SNAP to people, and there was going to be children and elderly and mothers and families and veterans, etc., and animals too, because animals are part of families and they eat as well. I was like, well, we're all going to come together and we're going to help each other out. And then I started to donate as much as I could. And I mean, every time I felt sad about it, I would go donate $5 to Head Start, or not Head Start, but Harvesters. I think that's how we do it. And I honestly feel like at some point, instead of paying taxes, which I'm not, we shouldn't pay taxes, but clearly our taxes are just going to keep funding him. He's going to steal all the money, literally stealing all the money. Just like he stole the desk, the Resolute desk, and put it in Mar-a-Lago, which he's not supposed to do. I think they're going to have to yank that and take it back. And I just heard Jack Smith when I said that. So um, we will find a way to get the money. We will find a way. Here's what's going to have to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. Here's how we're going to be able to get money for SNAP. They're going to stop ICE. I think ICE has had its run. Ironically, as we get cold and we have ICE on the roads, and I'm, for entertainment purposes only, or any opinion on it, but I personally don't like the whole thing. I've never liked it because I love all people, and I don't believe that it was the right way, and nobody had due process, and the American way is due process, and I feel like we should remember our humanity. And anyway, I feel like ICE is not going to have any more money because I think the courts are going to say, where's all the money going? First of all, where's the money? And secondly, where's it going? Like, where are you getting money from and where are you spending the money? And when they find out that legitimate money, government money, is going all to ICE, they're going to say, nope, because there's all these lawsuits connected to ICE anyway, because it's, for each state, they're violating state mandates like California and Chicago and all these places, Portland, where they were told to stop and they were doing it anyway. And there's all these lawsuits from each person, including children, which are people, but, young people. They're all lawsuits, massive lawsuits connected to every single person. So instead of having that due process in the beginning, they're going to have it now for each person that was affected. So I feel like the ICE, icy roads, for entertainment purpose only, is going to have to stop because that is a huge money leak and it's not helping. It's just causing chaos and it's causing massive lawsuits, years, decades of lawsuits and money lost. And I do feel like 45 keeps putting a stay on the order to release the SNAP funds because it doesn't have it. So again, they're going to find it. It's like when a parent has to pay child support or whatnot, and the courts say, well, you have money somewhere, and they find it, and then, blah, 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 blah. So I feel like it's going to be like, yeah, ICE is going to, I feel like 45 himself will have to say, whatever, I'll have to stop ICE. He squandered all the money otherwise. So that's what has to happen. That and the ball. I don't feel the ballroom will ever be built. I've said at the very beginning, I feel when he tore down what they wasn't at the East Wing, it was retaliation for the No King's Day and about the sneeze. It was narcissistic injury and retaliation. He didn't clear out all the artifacts. I'm just sure there's like Michelle Obama's portrait in there. I bet you anything. I bet you anything. And they said, and the asbestos. And I said that from the beginning. I said there's going to be asbestos everywhere. But I said that from the very beginning. What did I say? Doggone it, just left me. But oh well, maybe it'll come back to me. But the asbestos I guess he said that Melania wasn't happy about losing her little office. I bet that means she's really unhappy. The way he treats her is the way he's treated every other wife. Like, he probably thought, well, that was Hillary's office, so let's tear it down. And it was Michelle Obama's office, so tear it down. You didn't even use it anyway. She didn't like to decorate for Christmas, so whatever. I'll have to wrap this up here. What do I think is going to happen? Okay, so let's do some remote viewing on 45. I feel like they're going to get the money for SNAP. It's going to be court ordered. They're going to have to stop ICE or at least eliminate a massive amount of the programs. They're going to have to find where the money has been going. Oh, the tariffs. Even the Supreme Court is saying, man, these tariffs are ruining our country, so they have to stop. And as I've said, there should be a bill that says no president can use tariffs as like off with their head type of punishment for countries like, so Canada, they aired an ad with Ronald Reagan, real footage of Ronald Reagan saying that tariffs are bad. And 45, like the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, lost his mind and he said, off with their head, 100% tariffs. And then China does something, 110% tariffs. And he just makes up these crazy ass numbers that cripple the world economy. Well, let's talk about also the Bitcoin pump and dumps. But anyway, yeah, the tariff money, that's all going to be stopped. It has to go through Congress. It has to be voted on. One president cannot use tariffs punishment. And the money belongs to us because it came out of our pockets. We're actually paying the tariff. It's ruining the world economy, but we're paying that tariff tax and it's starving us. So I really feel like they're going to stop. Now, I said a while back, I said months ago, that people would really wake up to who 45 is right around Christmas. I remember saying that, and I said it at least 3 times, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want this to be true. I don't want it to be true, but that's what's going to happen. And sure enough, with SNAP and the tariffs and then other things, a shutdown, it really has come true because we are in the Christmas season, our holiday season now. And hello, everyone. I'm going to share a link of the rest of it just now displayed on Marlo. I know, isn't that crazy? Hi, Fatima. And hello, Carl. Hello. Yeah, Christmas was on. I remember I got this image of Christmas and I was like, Christmas is going to be bad. I don't wish anyone to be hungry. And somehow we find a way. That was the point I made. We come together. He stops SNAP, but we come together. Donate. We help each other. A couple Sundays ago, I was, sad. I was driving home from work and I just thought, I don't know if I believe that is God even, the divine, what's happening here? Because why is this being allowed to happen? It's just awful. And then within days, I saw that everyone was coming together to help each other out and help feed each other. I really feel like instead of paying taxes, which just going to line his pocket, I feel like we may start our fund called like the American Fund, the American Relief Fund, and that you get a passcode and you contribute. Everyone can contribute $5 every month or whenever you can, and then it's a collective fund. And then when you need it, you can go in, and if you have your like real ID or just whatever, driver's license, and you can have enough emergency funds of $100 per every 2 weeks or something like that. So it'd be the American Relief Fund. Now that sounds like socialism and communism. Well, as I've said, we'll never be socialists in this country, but we have programs that help. I think we're really fine. People have finally woken up to the fact that without social programs, we really suffer. We'll go back into like the 1800s and the rickets and goiters and, things like that, scurvy. And you got to have social programs because otherwise society fails. And this really, really, the more populated we are, and, really, I wish we have money, but capitalism can be healthy and unhealthy, but really, I kind of hate money, but it is what it is. And yeah, we'll never have socialism, never. But we do have social programs, and I really feel like we're heading into a world where we're going to do things like that, where we're going to help each other out. We're going to have American Relief Fund to help each other out. And he won't be able to take it. 45, he won't be able to take it. We'll have healthcare programs, so it's going to have to be private now. I do feel we'll come back to the ACA eventually, but for now, obviously, is effed up. And I really feel horrible. I mean, people are going to die, quite honestly. It makes me sad. Now, I'm someone who I never signed up for it because I had a bad feeling that when I signed up, that maybe it would start off like $44 a month or something like that. And then it would go up and I'd end up having to pay $1,000 or something like that. And I hardly ever go to the doctor, knock on wood. But I feel bad for other people because other people have birth, they're born with health issues at birth. Children, And then, of course, elderly, etc. What about mothers right now who are going to give birth and they won't have any health care? They no longer have health care. How are they going to have $10,000 to have a baby and they can't go? Babies are going to die. There's going to be babies who die and mothers who die in childbirth because of 45, the Republicans. So that's not good. So we're going to have to find a way to have health care again for people because he's not going to pay out. He's not going to help people. Let me take a sip of water. So I pretty much have said everything. Do you guys have a question before I go here? Oh, I was going to remote view. Let me see. What time is it? My phone's getting. So let me remote view. You guys are going to ask a question, and I'm going to remote view on 45 right now. My music stopped. I'll turn that back on. Okay, music on. Okay, 45. And I'm losing my voice. Yes, I can remote view. I'm okay at it. Most days I'm pretty good at it. Some days I'm horrible at it. So, 45. He's making the deals. He's trying last minute efforts to have information deleted, retracted, blacked out. He's trying to get people to soften the blow, anything they can do to distract. I bet there will be he's thinking of how to make a huge distraction. Epstein as a liar. I mean, do you guys remember I said that Epstein from the other side was sort of haunting 45? Because Epstein wants all of this to come out so he can face the karma and heal himself on the other side and also save 45 from eternal damnation for entertainment purpose only. And so he wants all of this to come out. Epstein's brother knows this. He has felt this urging from Epstein and has tried to release as much info and that he can and working with the authorities. Of course, now we have Bondi, who is like, Bondi was put in place, the gatekeeper, and Caroline Levitt and all that, but especially Bondi as the gatekeeper. She's seen all the files. She knows how bad they are. She's seen videos. She knows 45, what he's done and how bad it is. But the problem is she's aligned with him because for entertainment purpose only, she was in it in the beginning and has her own guilt and shame from her childhood. Just like I've always felt that Epstein himself was a victim of childhood sexual abuse for entertainment purpose only. And unfortunately, that went into their adulthood and they became the abusers. And she was put in place to hide everything, to be the pretty face in place to hide and block evidence. I'm sure a lot has been redacted, but I just heard not enough. So 45 trying to make the deal. Remember his show, The Art of the Deal, right? Art of the Deal, make the deal. He's trying to make the biggest deal. That's in him to not lose. And he's trying to do so. Epstein, he's going to have a distraction, so maybe something, maybe he'll knock down the West Wing. Maybe there's something big. Maybe that's why I've been feeling depressed, because something big's going to happen. They're going to orchestrate something big, unfortunately. And the distraction and to blame. He already said the emails are like a Democrat fake news type of thing. It's bad. There's videos. He's just going to play it off. He's thinking, well, I've gotten by with all this before and they'll love me and let me do whatever I want. So that's not going to change. And he's right. There's people who are never going to leave him. And they'll think it's fake, doctored, fake, AI. He'll say it's AI. And he's on the phone making the deals last minute. And then once it all comes out, he'll say, I've just heard whitewash and then black blocking. And he'll say, just like the Mueller report, I don't see anything wrong. Do you see anything wrong? I'm innocent. Look, they said I'm innocent. He's going to play it like that. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. But people who know, there's going to be enough damning evidence. And people are tired. We really got to see who he is in these last few weeks, especially with letting children starve and veterans and etc. I mean, he says one thing and does another. And like when people tried to say Obama was bad, Obama did nice things. I mean, whether or not you think Obama said, or, I mean, what, to me, it's not what someone says is what they do. Yes, bad statements, bad, that'd be bad, but it's really people's actions. Yeah. So let me look at the questions here. I knew it about Pam. Something was off. Yes. Any messages from your guides? I'll look that up. Croak or flee to Dubai. It's, he's got those connections in the UA and also down now in Argentina, right? Or is it Venezuela? I can't remember. He definitely could flee. There's no doubt about it. All right, so let me look up something from your guides here for Carl. Let me look that up. I'll get these cards. Any messages for Carl? Okay. Is that music? And what time is it? 3:43. Okay. For Carl. This is for Carl. Guardian angels. Message for Carl. Carl, please. Message for Carl from his guides and angels. Okay. Well, you've gotten this before, haven't you? You are profoundly clairvoyant. Trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as with your physical sight, for your spiritual vision helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. Trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as with your physical sight. So that tells me that when you see things, when you're walking around and you see something and you think, that made me think of my mother, or that made me think of my father, or that made me think of this thing that's going on in the world, but it was just a rock or it was just a car. Trust what the message was. I get that too. I get things where I'll see an image on the ground, like of a bird or a plane, and then something will happen with airplanes that day. And I'm like, oh, I saw that thing and it told me. Or, you think you see someone's face in a reflection and then it's gone and you go, oh, that was just my imagination. Well, I happen to feel like it's spirit coming through for you. And the more that you trust what you get, the more that they come to you and give you those messages, and the stronger your intuition gets. So there's that. Okay, so that was from the angel therapy cards, and the next will be the life purpose card. So what do you guys want to say? Carl's guides and angels. Okay, that came out. Freedom. Freedom. You're free to do what you choose. I think you've had that before. So people telling you that they don't think that, like, if you wanted to move, or a career that you have, or if you want to write a book or whatnot, and they make you feel guilty, or if you, whatnot. If you, like my mother would say to my brother, I wish he'd get a better job. He needs more money, but his job was helping. He was really good at it. And so I always felt he was in the right place. People try to dictate what they would want to do, but they're not you. You're you. So you need to do what feels right for you to do, and what your purpose is on. Yes, freedom. I need to move out here. Yes, wow. You just said it ahead seconds. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Let's get another card. I will get the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards. I always find these are really nice insight from our guides. So let's see for Carl. There. Messages for Carl. Thanks, guides and angels. Huh. I think that ties in self-worth. See, that ties into what you're. So I think that people, maybe family, friends, maybe your own inner self has been saying, I don't know, if I should be doing this. I'm not making money, or it's just not like a regular job, or whatever. We all do that. But if you are doing something that the earth, like I know that you help cats, street cats, which is really beautiful and admirable and needed, and a very beautiful, loving thing to do. And I think you should have more pride in yourself for doing that, because nobody else is doing it and somebody has to do it. Somebody has to love those beautiful cats, right? It's a selfless, beautiful, kind thing that you're doing for them and the universe. So a lot of times the universe says, wow, that's amazing. And then the humans say, well, that's nothing. But the universe is like cheering and crying in joy that you're doing something that is aligned with the better good of all of humanity and animals and everything, your spiritual purpose. So yeah. Yes, Amy, you just said it. Yes, true. Yeah. So be proud of yourself and just keep whatever you feel in your heart that you should be doing. Be proud of it and don't second guess it. I get that too. I feel the same way about everything. So I think that's it. I'll get one more. I'll get one from Archangel Michael. And then I'll have to wrap this up pretty soon. Okay, for Carl, from this guy, just from Archangel Michael. Pay attention to dreams, it says. Pay attention to your dreams. Thank you for tucking me into bed tonight and helping me enjoy a wonderful, restful night's sleep, Archangel Michael. I invite you into my dreams as my teacher, guide, and healer. Please allow me to understand this situation on a spiritual level and give me guidance. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm the same way. Last week, I had a lot of dreams, and I heard other people talk about that too. So there was something about, I don't know what was going on in the world, but maybe it was the full moon. But yeah, I had a lot of dreams too. But typically, I don't remember. And I wish I could, because I would love to set my dream, like my topic, and then see if I could make it play out. I think that would be really cool. Yes. So there you go. I hope that helps. You got to trust yourself and trust that the universe has put you in the right place and that you're doing the right thing. Yeah, I know. We all kind of feel that way. It's just easier. I think when you're younger, your dreams are sort of a big help to help you self-discover. And as you get older, you just have all this information and life experience piled onto you. And maybe it's not so much about self-discovery anymore as it is more about an escape, right? Like you need to escape life. And they say that we go into the 5D when we are asleep, which is like, fifth dimension, your spiritual realm, your higher self. You heal, you get to travel. And sometimes they say that when you wake up and you're still tired, that you just had like a huge dream trip or something, like where you really went through a lot of healing on the other side in the fifth dimension. So you're welcome. You are welcome. So, all right. Do you see how the sky is starting to turn purple? I'm in Kansas, and we had the aurora borealis last night. Now, I went outside about 10 o'clock. I didn't see it. But then my daughter went out probably like 2 a.m. or something, and she said, I saw it. And I was like, damn it. was happy for her, but I wanted to see it too. So apparently it's supposed to be tonight again, and I'm going to try to wake up at 2 a.m. or whatever and go out and see it because I really, really want to see it.
Oh, you haven't slept.
Well, no wonder you don't dream. You never sleep. Well, I'm glad that I could do this. Like I said, I've been really busy, and every time I think, okay, I'm going to make a video, then I get something happens. And back to work tonight. I'm 2 shifts today, so I'm in between my 2 shifts, and I'm running around a lot. I've been working 6 shifts in a row a lot, so that's why I haven't been on, but I'm glad I could be here. I know today is a big day. If I'm feeling a disturbance in the universe, then I think a lot of people probably are. So and that's something else that happened. This morning, this huge power arc went through the house, through the neighborhood. I've never heard a power arc go through my house before. I heard it. It was the weirdest thing. I paid my bill. It wasn't that my first thought was, but I paid my bill. I know I didn't forget to pay the bill. Um, and then I looked to see whose Wi-Fi was out in the neighborhood, and like everybody's Wi-Fi was completely wiped out. So it's like, okay, it's not just my house. But you know what? It makes me wonder if was that done on purpose? Was it the three-eye atlas? Was it some disturbance in the universe? Did we shift timelines? It's a lot of stuff like that. But I have also noticed that every night I wake up at because I wake up at 3 a.m., right? But I wake up at all night anyway. Um, and only at night, my Wi Fi goes off and on, off. And now, what is that? Are they messing with the Wi Fi? That was else I was going to talk about real quick before I go. You know how, okay, Friday night, people were saying that their Bank of America accounts, now Friday night, everybody was paid, right? A lot of people got their paycheck that day. And they were saying, oh my God, my Bank of America account, and they say I have no money. And I literally just deposited my entire paycheck and I have no money. And then that happened to Chime and someone else. I got a psychic hit. And I was like, at 45 is tapping off, checking people's bank accounts for entertainment purpose only, and tapping off money from everyone's accounts. I hope I'm not right. But I feel that's when he's been getting money and is planning on getting more money, is through people's bank accounts and the interests in banks from people's bank accounts, like savings and etc. So let's say, there's a trick that like places like PayPal and banks do is to hold on to a paycheck for a couple days. Why? They say they're checking it, right? But really they're getting interest. That's why they do it. They hold it long enough to get interest, and then okay, here's your money. And then 45 comes in and takes I could be wrong, for entertainment purpose only, but I kid you not, I think that's what he's been doing, and I think he's doing it. I think he's accessed everybody's bank accounts. And then he's going to try to do something like turn us all into Bitcoin and just say, well, money's dead. We're just going to all go to Bitcoin. It's just connected to Epstein and Uten in the country with R, for entertainment purpose only. So that's something we should that's why he wanted to get rid of the FDIC. God, I hate being psych. I really hate it sometimes. And anyway, I think I'm done. I'm done.
I just saw a blue square spark my right side now. Amy didn't know what it was. Whoa, that's weird.
Well, that's probably Archangel Michael, actually. That's Archangel Michael. When I see a blue flash, that's Archangel Michael. And we just literally got a card from him. He's clearly protecting you. And do you know, Carl, that animals, when you want to pray for an animal's well being and protection, and for yourself helping them, it would be Archangel Michael, and it would be a Saint, isn't it Saint Anthony? Saint Francis and Saint Anthony help you. So, but that blue would be Archangel Michael. I'm just sure of it. So, whenever you feel like you need help and protection, pray to Archangel Michael and he will help you.
Yes, please remember.
All right. Well, I'm about ready to go because I have to go back to work here in a bit. And it might, I haven't checked the news since I've been on. I'm sure things are crazy. Things are going down. I think my throat feels tight. When you know how when I come on here and I lose my voice, I really think it's because, well, I have thyroid issues. But I really think it has something to do with this feeling of 45 silencing us and his victims being silenced. And I really, what I'm feeling right now is like a lot of the victims who probably aren't even alive anymore, like Katie Johnson. They they were silenced and they're scared, and they're scared as retribution, and they're scared of when this comes out, it won't exonerate them. It won't exonerate him so much, obviously, but it won't. It never helps a victim really to, because then a victim is still made to feel like they asked for it. Why didn't they speak up sooner? Why didn't they say something? Why didn't they sue? Why didn't they tell somebody? What were they wearing? You know, were they walking alone? Did they go to the party knowingly? And say they get victimized over and over again, even though they didn't ask for it. And these were children. These were children. So I think that's what I'm feeling. That's why my throat is so tight. And I've been feeling this sadness, is that his victims are really sad. That's what I'm channeling right now. So I'm not alive. Like, look at Ivana. She said that he raped her, and then he made her retract the statement in their divorce, and then he buried her on his golf course. Like he owns her freaking grave. That's like ultimate narcissism abuse right there. I really think his victims are feeling a lot of pain today. This is dredging up their pain. I know we feel like it'll be, oh yay, now we've cleared it all. No, they're feeling pain. They're scared. It's bringing up memories of what happened. And it brings a lot of shame and blame on them that they don't need, that they don't deserve. So I think that's what I'm feeling. And I just saw a blue jay, and blue jays are about talking and getting your voice heard. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for listening, you guys. I've said before, we're in the upside down, so it's really hard to predict things. What's better is just to pray and ask for protection, and also just manifest really good positivity. Yes. So thanks for being here. I love you. Thank you, and take care. I'll try to come back again before 2 weeks. I'll probably, maybe, if not tomorrow, I'll try to come back on Friday. But anyway, love you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day and night. Bye.